Hello, everyone. Welcome to the early career development session for insights from academia and industry. My name is Pascaline Hayoun, and I'm working at Saint-Gobain, a French international company. I'm leading the innovation as well as a R&D platform on plastics and concrete materials for our CertainTeed siding division. I'm originally from France, and I've been working for Saint-Gobain for over 7 years and relocated to the US in Philadelphia 4 years ago. I hold a PhD in physics and material science from Sorbonne University and ESPCI Paris, and I'm about to graduate from an executive MBA at Penn State. Today, I will give you some insights on what to consider when switching to the industry. So let's start with why making this transition. You may be asking yourselves this same question today. In my case, I really enjoy the practical application of what I was able to achieve during my various industrial experience and having an impact on the world surrounding us, whether it was at Saint-Gobain by developing fire-resistant insect screen for buildings construction, or even at Nestle by working on beverage, which would help people with dysphagia swallow, was very important to me. I was looking for opportunities for career advancements and wanted to work in a large corporation to get the possibility to change topics and or function easily. I was also very motivated by working in a team and be confronted to others' mindsets and backgrounds outside of the scientific world. Some other aspects that I consider were, of course, the remuneration that the industry offers, as well as the job security, while being able to move from places to places. Once you are decided on making the switch, there are a few things to consider based on my experience, and I'd like to go over them with you today. First, become aware of all the skills you've developed during your academia years. You can capitalize on it, and this is also what you need to demonstrate in interviews. Second is to define your career objectives and ask yourself, what problems do I like to solve? Last but not least, search for a company that would fit you and market yourself to get this job. Start by thinking what employers' needs are. It can actually be summarized in 3 things: experience, critical knowledge, and network. Leverage your experience and identify what transferable skills you have developed, both technical and soft skills. You need to get to know the language of the business and connect the dots from your past academic experience and future industry need that you identify. Here are some examples of skills you may have developed during your PhD or postdocs and that can be leveraged in the industrial world. You have a technical expertise and a know-how that you built that you can rely on transitioning into a company job. You also developed project management skills as well as leadership as you were leading your various projects. You've been presenting to conferences, so you've developed communication skills that are critical for in a company. You may have supervised interns, therefore develop people management skills that you can point out. Other aspect that you may not think about is the political side of things, as you were maybe negotiating to get lab space or some part of the budget in order to acquire an equipment or to benefit your project. This is actually skills that are used daily in an organization. Moreover, purchasing skills as far as to acquiring the equipment itself. You had organizational skills as you need to plan out your work and execute. You've been more likely working through collaboration, whether it was in your lab or outside your university or entity, and built know-how around how to work as a team. More likely, you've been working in a multicultural environment and developed that skill that is critical for most of the organization in terms of innovation and building diverse teams. Companies are also looking for network people, so start building yours as soon as possible, both in the academia world and with industrial partners. It will serve you when looking for opportunities by getting more familiar with corporate environment and be aware of what those opportunities might be. Also, that would help you once in the job, as you can leverage your academic network for consulting or sponsored research project, for example. So remember, build your network before you need it. Also, you may have to be creative in these pandemic times by reaching out to people through social media or join some virtual events. So let's move on to our second topic, which is defining your career objectives and what problems you like to solve. Start by getting self-clarity. Look at your past self, your present self, and how your future and possible selves could look like. For that, you can ask yourself, of course, but you should also leverage the people who surround you, such as your colleagues, your family, and your friends, for example. Don't be afraid to ask them what they think. This will help you shape who you think you are and how you behave versus what others may think of you. From there, see what you've learned and answer these questions. 1. What is my career objective? What is my mission and purpose? What is distinct about me and my skills? How I will differentiate myself in the future job? What problems do I like to solve? And lastly, how do I want to be known in my target company? That would help you shape how you would introduce yourself and make your points in an interview or when starting a new role. Finally, comes the time to search for a company and to market yourself for a job. For this step, identify what is of interest to you in terms of companies and industry. Once you have a target in mind, similarly to how you would choose a lab for your PhD, consider different factors. First, to validate your interest, look for companies' pain points and challenges that they are facing today. Learn about what they are up to by looking at their press releases, for instance, or executive backgrounds. Then you can check the size of the company in terms of number of employees or revenue. Is it a startup, a small or medium-sized company, or even a large enterprise? And what fits you best? Also, try to project yourself in the company's culture and mindset in order to see if you would fit. You can also reach out to people working at that company. As you may be interested by research and development roles, I strongly suggest that you look at the R&D focus given by each of these firms. For that, you can look at the resources allocated to R&D, which is usually quantified in dollar or percentage of revenue. You can also evaluate how innovative is a firm by taking a look at their IP portfolio or other metrics such as Reuters innovation ranking. Also on the right-hand side of the slide, you can see few tools that would help you better scope what you are looking for and to prepare for interviews. So the first few ones are Glassdoor and Volt that are job posting. You have also some company backgrounds that you can find on those websites. Then you have Holler, which is providing valuation and investor information. Again, it's a company profile type of website. Then you have pay scales that would provide you some pay trends by city, industries, company size, job category that could help you during your search, but also during your interviewing process. And lastly, strongly suggest to leverage the social media, whether it's LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. Most importantly, market yourself. Think about creating your professional identity. Make your resume clear, specific, and quantify with accomplishment that tells a story about what you have done before. You should create or optimize your LinkedIn profile for inclusion in search results. In your headers, for instance, you can use keywords that describe you and that could show also your interest or even your purpose. During interviews or discussion with potential employers, show confidence and evidence of your value add. To do so, use your professional and extracurricular activities to prove who you are and what you're capable of. Don't hesitate to share some of the things a bit outside of the box that you may have done during your PhD. For example, teaching, organizing a workshop, or a team building activity for your lab, taking part into some science popularization events, or volunteering, or even maybe having an entrepreneurship activity. Few other things that I would recommend to consider is to have an email signature that would help you share your contact information as well as brand yourself. Finally, you can create a networking brief and career biography that you'll be able to use when meeting with people, whether it's networking events or during interviews. With all this, you should be ready to roll. So remember, there are 3 things to consider when transitioning from academia to industry. You need, number 1, to capitalize on your skills you've developed during your PhD and postdoc. Number 2, define your career objectives and what problems do you like to solve. And third, search for a company and market yourself. Good luck.